name is Lyssa Prince, and I'm here to tell you about keyboard accessibility. And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've called it Today, Are You Ready to Tab Out? So we're going to have a little fun with that, maybe. But yeah, the keyboard is really important to your user. So I just like to kind of give this talk in different ways and let everybody know that there are a few tests you can do. And I went ahead and introduced myself, but here's the actual slide. So I have about 10 plus years as a digital accessibility nerd. I stumbled into it, just fun fact real quick, because I found a piece of my, it was in my textbook in my undergrad that said, hey, Section 508 accessibility, and I saw a job that had those things in them. So here I am, over a decade later. Didn't plan to do this. I got my MLIS along the way, that's library science. And I fully think that this is a fun profession to go into after you've kind of done your library science, because it all ties in. Like, I'm trying to make sure that all users can access all information. So it's all wrapped in together, even though I didn't become a public librarian. I love what I do, and I'm happy to share a little bit of that with you today. Oh, my keyboard got a little extra just now. I was trying to skip ahead. All right, so my question to you in this room, and so I can't interrupt, if there's anybody that comments online, just let me know. But how many of you use a keyboard more than a mouse in your work, school, or play?
I try.
You try? Okay. So we have about half the room in person, which is not a small number. And for techie people, that number tends to be a little bit higher. So you guys probably already have a good idea of like why this is important. But there are lots of other people that use keyboards. So we're going to talk a little bit about who else may need to use a keyboard. And it's all kinds of people. So first off, we have one example here. This is a person who's a quadriplegic. They have prosthetics for both arms and legs. And these aren't necessarily high-tech prosthetics. So it would definitely be the type of prosthetic that would prevent someone from using a mouse, because the mouse does require really fine motor skills. And then you can think of other kind of permanent disabilities like that. So there's some issues where somebody has a disability, cystic fibrosis, fibromyalgia. They kind of have these things where they can't fully open their hand, so that prevents them from using a mouse in that regard too. So there's a lot of permanent disabilities that can cause people to need to use that keyboard. We also have situations that are, sometimes more temporary. They can be when you broke a wrist, or when you're just unable to, maybe you're feeling a little bit more pain, maybe because you have carpal tunnel or something like that. So tons of cases like that where some days you may be able to use a mouse and some days you may not be able to. You can also think of people with arthritis. You can think of folks who have Parkinson's, maybe even. So, and that's kind of more of the permanent disability. I'm kind of weaving in and out of these, but lots of cases. And then next up we have the folks who are blind. So I've got on the screen some people who are using some white canes. And they obviously, whether they're fully blind or whether they just have some variation of low vision, they would likely not be able to see that mouse cursor. So the mouse would be pretty useless to them, right? So that's another big group that we have to consider. All right, so now we get to the fun part. And this is going to be a lot more demonstration than anything. But we're going to go ahead and learn how to check the keyboard accessibility of any website. And this also works for, it's going without me now. It's haunted. Okay, anywho. All right, so this is going to be something that anyone can do on a website, web application, and it also applies to mobile apps as well. A lot of people don't think that this applies to those, but it does. Some people can use Bluetooth keyboards to hook up to their mobile devices, and then they can use them that way. So the first part that we're testing as part of this tab test is, can I actually use the tab key to reach every element? So that's a pretty quick one, and it can kind of go very fast. You just hit the tab key, can I get to everything? That's pretty simple. The second one is, can I activate every interactive element? So not only do I need to be able to get to those things, I need to be able to activate them either with the enter or the space key. Third, for especially those folks who have any amount of vision and would be wanting to see where they are on the screen, can I see where I am? So you've likely seen on websites there are these focus indicators, they're little outlines around an interactive element. Those need to be there for folks who can see where they're at on the screen. And then the last one is, do I reach everything in the order that I see it? So does the order that someone's interacting with the keyboard work the same exact way as the visual version of the website or web application. So those are the 4 things we're going to test. And now we're going to get hands-on. And I'm going to share this deck and, oh, seriously, what in the heck is happening? Okay, so I'm going to share this deck obviously in the SheCodes Oklahoma group. So you have access to these links, but we're going to use this first one, and I included these just in case any of you want to do some more playing around, because these first 2 websites are designed to be bad. So they're going to have keyboard accessibility issues as well as a ton of other accessibility issues. And then the last one is it's a resource I found kind of recently. It's called Hocus Pocus, but it's a game that will kind of teach you a little bit about accessibility. It's a little hard to play in a group, so recommend go play that on your own. But let's go do a demo real quick, and hopefully my computer stops being haunted. All right, let me make this a slight bit bigger. So to do our test, we've got those 4 things we're looking for. I'm going to put my cursor up in the address bar, and then we're going to start going down from there. So I'm going to hit the tab key, and we take a second to get down into the website, but here we are. So we're at the home tab right now. Kind of keep going, and if you notice something, just yell it out. If you notice there's an issue, just yell it out. Tab it out, tabbing through. We're down in the menu now.
Should it be going down or should it first go across?
Great question. I'm going to hold that one for a second, but yes, a great thing to notice.
There's no skip to me.
Yep. Oh, somebody already knows all the things, so she's ahead of the game for sure. All right, go through. All right, where are we now? Anybody know? Okay, so this is the first one I expected people to call out, but it's pretty obvious. We don't know where we're at. Now we're somewhere down in the video. Okay, cool. Now we're over in the form, so this apply now. And now I don't know. I guess it's going through the check boxes. And then we get to the bottom, and we get back up to top. So we've gone through the whole site. So this is obviously failing which one at this point? Anybody know? Can I see where I'm at on most of the website? Probably not. All right, so it's failing that one for sure. Now I have a handy dandy little tool I'm going to turn on so that we can test some of the other ones. And this is what you're going to run into if you run into a bad website and you're doing any accessibility testing. You're going to have to find a tool that'll turn on things so that you can test those first 2. You know, most of the time, if there's one keyboard issue, they come in groups. And so this missing focus outline is an issue. So let's turn that back on, and we'll start back up at the top, and we'll see what happens this time. So now we have a little blue box around, so it's a little easier to see where we're at. So we're going to get through the menu. That's probably about 12 clicks, and that was a great question, Ashwini, so I will come back to that one, I promise. We get down here, we're into click here, and then it actually goes to the next line. So okay, we're in a decent order. And then we go up to the video. We're going through the video player, and now it's over here. We can at least see where we are. All right, so let me go back a little bit. We got through the video, and I'm actually going to zoom out because that's fairly big, so y'all can actually probably see this pretty well. All right, what are we missing though? Did anyone notice there's some stuff in between the click here links and the menu that we may have missed?
What about the boxes where you can input your name, email, and...
It did get to those after that.
Okay.
But what about the slideshow? Is there anything in that slideshow? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the arrow button, and then we have those little buttons at in the bottom. So a lot of times you kind of can take your mouse, you know, if you have access to that, and you can kind of play around and see what's going on. And again, there's a lot of accessibility errors in this, so if you're noticing other stuff, you're probably right. Anyway, so we have those buttons down there. Those need to be accessible. So this is now failing the number 1, right? We also would need to just go through and make sure these all can be activated. So I won't do that just for the sake of time, but again, everything you touch with that tab key needs to be able to be activated, so hitting enter or whatever. And then the last, so we have focus outlines, and then if it's in the correct order. So I didn't see anything that was out of order, it's just missing things, right? So if you go to the Mars site that I mentioned, that one has a ton of issues where it just skips around the page and you don't know what's happening. It's all over. And we see that a lot, unfortunately. It's still something that hasn't been trained out of people just yet. Okay, so that was a quick test, and I just encourage you, if there's a site that you work on, or one that you just like and you're just curious to see how accessible it is, go do this test. Check it out and see what it kind of looks like. And let me get back to my slides real quick. So like I said, I'm encouraging you to do all of that. And I would say too, this is the #1 thing I would take on any site. I look at this first, because if they haven't considered accessibility of the keyboard, they're likely not considering accessibility as a whole. So this already, again, was haunted and it just went forward. I don't know what's happening. But I was gonna say, if you indulge me, I can do one more tab joke. You can't tab out before you make it keyboard accessible. All right, so on the screen we have these two ladies who've gotten a receipt and they're kind of shocked. So this is what happens if you don't think about keyboard accessibility. You will often have some surprises when you go to share your website, web applications, whatever it happens to be with your user. So let's not have any surprises. All right, so thank you for the time. I appreciate the organizers inviting me and everything, and for you guys listening. I'm happy to answer any questions, obviously, and my contact information is here. It's lyssaprince@gmail.com. I'm not super active on LinkedIn, but I do get the messages there, so if you'd like to add me there, happy to connect.